Welcome back to episode 2 of the Sammy Sports Show. I'm your host, Avi Sammy, and this episode will be all about the MLB All-Star Game, and more specifically, players who made the All-Star team who could be on the move by the August 2nd trade deadline. But before we get started, as always, if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe, turn notifications on. I need all the support I can get, guys. And one way that you can really help out the channel is by commenting down below, and that really helps me out. It gives me feedback, let me know things I can improve on. What do you guys want me to talk about? And this one, I want you to comment down below who your favorite All-Star is. And if you don't have one, tell me who your favorite baseball team is and how you think they're going to fare in the second half of the season. So a little starter question for you guys there. And let's just jump into it. I am recording this video outside, so yes, it's windy, but it is really nice out here. So I do encourage you guys to get outside if you haven't been outside today. But definitely check out this video first, because this is definitely more important. I'm just kidding. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first player I have on my list is closer Will Bednar of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Bednar is a high-end reliever. He's 27 years old, and around this time of year, contenders are looking for bullpen help. They're looking to shore up that back end, make sure that before they get to the postseason, they don't have any liabilities, and they can just put a guy in the 8th or 9th inning who can just shut down opposing teams. And Bednar has just been that for the lowly Pirates this year. And Pirates, maybe Brian Reynolds is on the move, some other guys who could leave, Vogelbach, veterans like that. And it seems most like Bednar will be one of the first to go, considering how he doesn't fit the timeline. He's 27, which is still pretty young, but a lot of the Pirates guys are 25 or younger. So would not be surprised at all if we saw him on the move. Next on the list is Andrew Benintendi. So Benintendi will be making $3.7 million for the rest of the season, and then he becomes a free agent. He's batting .317, which is good for top 5 in the AL, and he's also top 5 in the AL for hits. And lefty, definitely valuable against right-hand pitching, Gold Glove defender in the field. You don't have to worry about him being a defensive liability. I can't talk right now. Just a terrific, solid player, who's on a very cheap deal. Well, I won't say cheap, very team-friendly deal considering how much outfielders are getting paid, and he backs it up with his production. So next we have Luis Castillo, one of the top starting pitcher on the market before the deadline. The Reds have him, and the Reds suck, so they will try and ship him out to a contender who is willing to pay a heavy price. And he is arbitration eligible for next season, which means that whoever he gets traded to, they will have him for this season and the next season, which means they could have him for potentially 2 playoff runs if they make the playoffs, which is definitely a plus considering how much starting pitchers are valuable to teams, with this becoming more of a pitcher's league and the batting average dropping and all that kind of stuff. Now we get to a pair of Cubs. Wilson Contreras is first on the list. He is one of the very few players left on that 2016 World Series team, as it has basically been a complete teardown ever since the Cubs broke the curse. He is very valuable not only as a catcher, he's a good defensive catcher, but now with the implementation of the DH in both the National League and the American League, pitchers don't hit anymore, if you haven't noticed that in the baseball games that have been televised this year. So he can definitely play both. If he goes to a team that has a great starting catcher, he can just slot in as the DH or, take turns, alternate games catching with the other, but definitely very valuable as a DH and a catcher, and I expect him to be on the move, unfortunately. And another guy is Ian Happ, and the Cubs will be willing to trade him too, most likely, although they probably will have to wait until after the season to do that, as he isn't arbitration eligible. But he's had another very solid season, a couple of rough seasons these last 2 years, but he's been pretty good this year. And hopefully he can find success wherever he lands. Was an all-star for the first time in his career, so congratulations to him. And yeah, we'll see what happens for the Cubs as they continue to do their so-called retool, although it's looking more like a complete teardown / rebuild. And rebuilds, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but rebuilds in the city of Chicago never go well. They never go well. The Bears suck at rebuilding, and they won't admit it. They keep calling it a retool. It's not a retool. It's a freaking rebuild. Justin Fields might not even be the starting quarterback if they don't produce. God knows, they might just take Tyler Van Dyke or some random quarterback from the University of Miami or North Carolina's, just like Mitch Trubisky. Great. Another quarterback. That's amazing. Anyway, back to baseball. That was my little rant of the video there. So, you got a rant. Congrats. We'll move on to the San Francisco Giants and Jock Peterson. Peterson is 30 years old, a former Cub, and he signed a one-year deal with the Giants, and he's had a very good season, batting around 250, 17 home runs, and an OPS of 848. A slugger, was with the Braves last year as they won the World Series. Definitely was a big part of that championship team. Hits a ton of home runs. He's been a very good power / contact hitter this year, and he'll be valuable to the club that will be getting him, although he will be a free agent after the season. And the second Giant on this list is Carlos Rodon, former White Sox, and he has been excellent for San Francisco this year. He's probably top 5 in the Cy Young for the National League. Signed that 2-year, I believe, $44 million deal with San Francisco during the offseason, but he can opt out after year 1, and I assume he will opt out and become a free agent on the market once again. And if the Giants do end up trading him, it will be because they are out of contention in their own division. Say the Dodgers, who are obviously ahead of them, and the Padres surge back with Tatis possibly returning, then and the Giants feel like we're not in a position to make the playoffs, then they may sell high on Rodon, but it just depends on, the whole situation. The biggest surprise on my list is what is coming next, and kill me in the comments if you want, but the next player on my list is Shohei Ohtani. And Shohei Ohtani is one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Period. One of the greatest to ever do it. And he hasn't even played 4 years in the majors yet. He can pitch, he can hit, whatever you want him to do. Got a filthy fastball and just demolishes balls as a hitter. I doubt the Angels are going to trade him, but the reason I have him on this list is the Angels have been horrible for the past 5, maybe even 10 years. They've just been horrible, and they just can't get out of mediocrity. They started off the season very well with Trout finally fully healthy, Ohtani, Rendon, and everything has just went south since then. Trout has been banged up quite a bit. Rendon is out for the season again, so that has been a horrible contract for them. And, they fired Joe Madden, have an interim going on. It's not going so well, so the only reason would be to get a monster package to rebuild other aspects of the team, although it would be a monumental loss and probably lose quite a bit of the fan base. Next, we will talk about Juan Soto, and this is the final one on my list. Juan Soto recently turned down a 15-year, $440 million extension, but it wouldn't have made him the highest paid annually, and he is looking to become the highest paid player in all of baseball. So he rejected that, and the Nationals revealed that they would, take offers for their superstar slugger. He is most often compared to Ted Williams because we just don't see people get on base at the rate that he does. Just period. We don't see guys like him. He is one of a kind, unicorn, whatever you want to call him. Terrific hitter, lefty, just won the home run derby. But the only thing that could be holding a deal back would be the price contenders would have to pay. It'd have to be a Herschel Walker type deal, which is tons and tons of prospects and 2 impact or more, even more likely starters and possibly even good starters that the Nationals will be even willing to listen to. The Nationals have no intention of trading Juan Soto unless they feel like they get adequate return or a superstar package in return to make up for his loss. So this is the end of my second video on the Sammy Sports Show. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. About a 10-minute video. Please, again, comment down below who your favorite All-Star was, or if you don't have one or you don't know, comment down below what is your favorite baseball team and why. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.